New York Times best-selling author Doug Brunt first garnered attention with his fictional look at Wall Street trader in The Ghost of Manhattan. Now he's out with his third novel. It's called Trophy Son. It chronicles the intense and isolating life of Anton, a young tennis prodigy. Despite the highs that come with every win, Anton struggles with his identity off the court. And Doug Brunt joins us at the table. When I finished, hello, Doug.
Hello.
When I finished it, I thought this could make a great movie because it's such an interesting dynamic between Anton and his dad, who really is a classic tennis dad. If there is such like a what they call stage mother, he's a stage father.
Right.
Trophy Son is very aptly named.
Thanks. Yeah. Funny enough, the initial title was Specialized, which I loved all the way through, and I got to with my editor, and he sits me down and says, about the title.
Yeah.
Trophy, but this is a much better title. It does capture that father-son relationship, and that really is such a common dynamic in professional tennis. There is often a tiger mom or domineering father behind the intense upbringing that these athletes have.
And parents in general, you're talking about how dominating they can be.
That's right. Yeah. And it's an interesting shift in our culture now because the novel's been compared to The Great Santini. And one of the differences from the 1970s when Pat Conroy wrote that novel is our system is much more like a giant Great Santini that you enter with 8th grade or 8-year-old travel sports teams. And if you want to have a high school athletic experience today, you need to, as an 8-year-old, lock in behind a sport and commit. And it's a much more intense way and much more specialized way to grow up for our kids.
But you think, and I know you wrote about this for Time, you think that money and that sort of specialization has actually ruined sports?
It's problematic, and fortunately there's a growing tide against that. Steph Curry wrote a great article, Steph Curry, a great basketball player, wrote a great article saying...
We know who Steph Curry is, Doug. They're in the playoffs.
This is hard news over here.
Yes.
That's true. He is so good.
Like sports.
My
Yes,
kids wear the
like
Steph
sports.
Curry Under Armour shoes. Thank you very much.
No, but Charlie, didn't you like how he said that Steph Curry's a very famous
Like we need
basketball
to know
player?
that he plays basketball for the Warriors.
I forgot I was talking to a Duke basketball fan.
Right. Okay, go ahead, Doug.
He wrote a piece a little while ago talking about the benefits of playing multiple sports for as long as you can, and that you'll be a better basketball player if you don't play only basketball through high school.
Jordan McEnroe used to say that the fact that he played soccer in the footwork required made him a much better tennis player.
Yeah, I was going to say Jordan Spieth, too. I mean, another great example of kind of a multidisciplinary sport. But what do you think in terms of this book? I mean, you can look at it in the edge of the way that kids are being driven into one sport and their parents are crazy with them on Memorial Day weekend, traveling around the country in these club sports.
It's hard on the whole family, too. I think some parents are into it and some kids are into it, and that's great. You see that all the time. But many parents are these reluctant participants in this system. I don't want to drive my kids around to 9 different soccer games on a weekend. I'd like to go camping and roast some s'mores, and that's a very healthy activity as well. And I think they're hopefully...
You don't want to raise tennis champions? What's wrong with you?
And does Mrs. Doug Brunt, Megyn Kelly, want to do that too?
She does not. She's much more about dancing around the bonfire and roasting s'mores too. So she and I are on the same page about that.
But help us understand what you found out about performance-enhancing drugs when you looked at the tennis world without naming.
We know it exists in the sport. There have been positive tests and suspensions, and there's been a lot of reporting from credible sources about the existence of drugs in the sport. And the question is, how prevalent and how effective is the testing? And it's interesting to look at the examples of other sports where this has been an issue, like cycling or baseball. And Lance Armstrong used to say, "I'm the most tested athlete on the planet. I've been tested 1,000 times." But that's meaningless because he knew how to beat the test. And then you flash forward a little bit, and he says, "Yes, I was using it all these years, but it wasn't really cheating because I was just leveling the playing field. Everyone is doing it."
But in this particular book, you name the names of real tennis players, and you imply that they've used performance-enhancing drugs. Can you do that? Because I'm thinking, if you had written a story about TV news and you said, Norah O'Donnell's an alcoholic, say, and used her real name, or Megyn Kelly, or Gayle King, or Charlie Rose, couldn't you get in trouble by saying that because you are using our real names, as you did in this book?
Well, as a legal matter, it's fiction, and this is a character speculating dialogue, but there is lots of speculation around certain players, and that's basically what this character is doing. There are a number of people, many people out there who believe that a number of players in this sport are kind of in the place where Lance Armstrong was. And to omit that in a novel...
Blake and the
yeah, and I'm not going to speak for James on any of this stuff. A lot of what he and I talked about And he actually read the book on his flight to Paris, where he has a budding broadcasting career as well. He's such a great guy and doing well for the Tennis Channel. But he wrote back saying, it's a page-turner of a novel. And he wrote back saying it captures that gut check feeling you get both on and off the court for a professional player.
Yeah.
A lot of what we talked about was the mechanics of the drug testing, how the tournament official meets you courtside with a clipboard and they take you back to the bathroom and they watch you until they get pee in the cup, even if you shower first.
We are out of time, but Doug Brunt, congratulations on your book. Trophy Son is on sale now. We'll be right back.